The $14 billion is a myth and unfortunately a DNC talking point that I've been subjected to many times. If anyone would like to show me where that $14 billion comes from,
I look forward to an exchange of details on that, Mr. Secretary.
We can exchange it in a very public forum.
I'm not the DNC. I'm the senator from Delaware.
Same thing. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, did not dodge these accusations here. He asked for proof, demanded it on the spot.
I'll have 3 questions for you this morning about sanctions, CDFIs, and direct file.
Okay.
We're about 7 weeks into the war with Iran. And I wondered, Mr. Secretary, given that your department enforces sanctions, if you have a sense just how much Iran has gained through sanctions relief since the war began. I'll tell you, estimates are $14 billion.
Yeah, that number basically is a TikTok conspiracy theory, guys.
Now, President Trump's described the Obama-Iran deal as a disaster and a scandal because of the money Iran got, which was about $1.7 billion. I don't know how you describe $14 billion, but you don't have to read The Art of War to know that helping your adversaries gain money while you're at war is a terrible idea. And it's shocking to me that the countries currently profiting from the release of sanctions are our enemies. No country has profited more from this war than Russia. Oil and gas prices are up nearly 50% since February. And it'd be bad enough if Russia were just profiting from higher global oil prices. But your Treasury Department lifted sanctions on Russian oil, giving them an extra $150 million a day.
Yeah, guys, he's definitely utilizing every single one of the current talking points that are coming out of the left here, guys.
In revenue. And those funds are going not just to kill Ukrainians, but Russia's using its profits to support Iran with drones and intelligence to kill our troops. So, look, to summarize, I find it hard to believe that we are continuing to relieve sanctions pressure on Russia and Iran. I was encouraged when last week you said that the department would not extend the sanctions relief for Russia, yet the next day that was reversed. Can you give me any brief idea why it's a good idea to relieve sanctions on Iranian and Russian oil?
Good. With pleasure, Senator. The $14 billion is a myth and unfortunately a DNC talking point that I've been subjected to many times. If anyone would like to show me where that $14 billion comes from,
I look forward to an exchange of details on that, Mr. Secretary.
We can exchange it in a very public forum.
Yeah,
I'm not the DNC. I'm the senator from Delaware.
Same thing.
On every talk show, and every senator seems to have.
Do you disagree that Iran has received significant additional revenue from their sales of oil because of sanctions relief?
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay. Do you disagree that Russia has received significant additional revenue from the sanctions relief?
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay. Why did you relieve the sanctions against Russian and Iranian oil?
Think of it this way, sir. There's the Strait of Hormuz.
Familiar with it.
There is oil to the
left and to the right.
There is to the right. The Treasury was able to, just as you are concerned about gasoline prices for the American consumer and for our Asian allies, as are we. Treasury was able to create the more than 250 million barrels on the water. And the way to think about this is, as I came in today, the oil prices are at $100. If we had not done that sanctions relief, they might have been at $150 because the world became very well supplied. So if Russia was selling their oil at a 20% discount, I can tell you that 100% of 100 is less than 80% of 150, and the American consumer has been better off.
Well, look, the folks in Delaware are buying $4 a gallon gas today. I don't see that we've seen a significant reduction in the price at the pump or the price on the world markets, but I have 2 more questions I want to get to.
Okay, guys, hold on really quickly. So when it comes down to like the oil prices, it's pretty much based off of the barrel cost. And I will say, though, $100 is still pretty high for oil, but I do understand it's high also because of what we're kind of experiencing right now geopolitically, guys. But it is still very high. So when he says $4 is high, yeah, it's high. Gas is not as low as it used to be basically before the gigantic kerfuffle that's currently occurring in the Strait of Hormuz. Valid.
And I look forward to disputing with you the details. I believe that Russia and Iran have benefited from the release of sanctions. And when you said we're not going to extend sanctions relief and then we're reversed, I was deeply disheartened because we shouldn't be funding Putin's war machine.
I would like to tell you that was as a result. Last week was Bank Week, World Bank, and IMF Week. And on Wednesday, it was my belief we would not do it. I was approached by more than 10 of the most vulnerable and poorest countries in terms of energy, and they asked us to extend that sanction, and it's only for 30 days.
30 days, $4.5 billion to Putin's war machine. Two quick more questions. The CDFI funds, I was encouraged by your comments in support of CDFI last year. I am one of 32 senators, bipartisan senators, who are co-sponsors of the Daines-Warner-Afford Act, which strengthens the CDFI fund. Delaware, like most states, has a housing affordability crisis. Every dollar provided by Treasury to CDFIs crowds in $8 in private investment. I think they are a proven, bipartisan, effective way to help build affordable housing in rural and urban communities. I'm perplexed by your budget proposal, which would cut over $200 million, a more than 60% cut to this successful program. Could you tell me briefly why?
First of all, that was an OMB apportionment. The funding.
So you don't support it?
The funding is now $280 million, and I do support the new $100 million program in rural areas. And I can tell you that part of the CDFI program had lost its way in terms of a partisan agenda, and we can see, for instance.
Mr. Secretary, I have one last question for you.
Of course not. Like, see, this is the problem here. Like, whenever you actually start getting to the crux of the issue here, and then you start actually realizing that most of the problems that we do have in the United States of America kind of boil down to almost exclusively partisan type of nonsense here. Listen, if a bill is basically going sour, most likely it's baked with a whole bunch of literal nonsense here, guys. We'll talk later.
I think funding affordable housing is a partisan agenda. Direct file. You spoke compellingly about an interest in making the IRS easier to access, more efficient, yet you shut down the direct file program. I was very disappointed by that. More than 300,000 taxpayers used it last year. It is a quick, free, U.S. government-provided way to file taxes. The average American who has simple tax filing spends $270 and 13 hours filing their taxes through paid services. Direct file saved the average participant $160. 90% rated it favorably. And the alternatives are run by for-profit tax prep companies designed to steer filers towards paid alternatives. Why'd you shut down direct file when it was free and easy to use?
Well, it wasn't free, and the
direct file was free to taxpayers.
To the people.
Not to the American people. It's $138 per person. So $72 million. For, as you said, about 300,000 taxpayers. There is an alternative, which is public-private partnership, Free File, which is free to the American people. And filers, over 3 million people use that. And for direct file, more than 60% of the people who started their application didn't finish it.
Thank you for those answers, Mr. Secretary.
But we're going to immediately start with the idea of the direct file system here. Yes, it was free for the people that were utilizing it, but it was not free for the government. Understand this here for a second here. I am not a fan of the gigantic taxation that occurs in the United States of America, specifically if most of it is going towards like literal and like legitimate waste and wasted programs that the overwhelming majority of Americans just do not care about. So when it comes down to the direct file system here, the fact that it was $72 million of, let me guess, money that would have been spent for absolutely ignorantly stupid programs that are being funded in foreign countries, I would rather give a slight benefit to the American people than to consistently fund absolutely irrelevantly stupid programs. My opinion. But let's jump into the idea of like war profiteering and Russia potentially, profiting off of the Iranian war. Could they be? Yes, in fact, they could be here. Could it be from our sanction reliefs? It could be slightly plausible, but unfortunately, the data really is not like actually backing the theory that we are in fact responsible for ending the lives of our own people. If that makes any sense here, it doesn't follow the path here. So we've known kind of for a while now that the left right now is basically pushing out this ideology or this theory, let's say this year, that anything Trump does is legitimately wrong, bad, terrible for America, etc. All of these things here. So no matter what, they're going to look to push back against anything that he's doing or anything that his cabinet members are basically doing. And this is literally what we're seeing kind of right here. Now, Scott Bessent basically coming out and saying that, the barrel prices are $100. Guys, that's a lot. Okay. That's still a lot for a barrel, bro. I mean, it's lower than it could be, sure, but it's still a lot for a barrel. Okay. Let's just be completely honest here. $4 for gas in Delaware sounds high. But it also is not as low as it used to be, let's say, in other places around the United States of America. Now, let's jump into the idea of the affordable housing here. That's also intriguing to me. It always has been intriguing, the idea of affordable housing in the first place here, in certain places. If you're in a high demand area, how are you expecting the prices of houses specifically to be lower than they are? It's like supply and demand here. You're fighting against the law of supply and demand in our capitalist system. The smarter play, and I've always said this here, go find some small town in the middle of nowhere and start building that up, bro. And then when your kids' generations basically come up, guess what they have now? They have a thriving city that they grew up in, and their parents helped basically, foster the area. Yeah, guys, we have a lot of towns that are basically dead around the United States of America. I get it. They don't look cool on TikTok or social media. Sure. Right. Make those places exactly what you want, because if you try to go into New York City or into any of these gigantic places around the country and you're expecting to outbid some random millionaire that's also trying to live there, you're crazy. He's going to get that. Why? Because he's going to pay more, guys. Supply, demand. If there are too many people wanting one thing, the price has to go up, bro. The reality. That's just how things work in our system. So the idea of affordable housing, specifically in high demand areas, seemed very counterproductive. It always has to me personally. Either way, guys, listen, if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys go ahead and click one of these, random videos that are popping up on the screen here, guys. All right. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and catch you guys later.